What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Happy 4th of July. I got the day off from work, so we're going to be swapping out brake pads on the Mercedes. We got the last brake pads to do. You can already tell I've been working on the car. And brake pads are a really easy job to do. If you're new to it or you don't work on cars, hopefully this video helps. And I'm doing it on Mercedes, but theoretically, it should be similar to doing it onto different cars, just depending what brake caliper you have. But universally, it's all the same parts. First thing first, I want to go ahead and remove our wheel. For those of you guys that don't know, always loosen up your bolts before and then jack it up and then remove it, just because if you try to remove it in the air, the wheel is most likely just going to spin while you're trying to crank it. Now that we got our wheel off, we have our brake caliper. It differs a little bit, but same concept. You guys can kind of follow along. So for me, I need to go ahead and remove this little bracket. Well, I remove these two pins. If you see these two holes, it removes these two pins, slides out through the back. We remove this bracket, and then we are able to just slide them out. On the other brake caliper, it was a lot harder to take off, so I ended up needing to remove the whole brake caliper altogether. But we're gonna go ahead and try it out, and if it doesn't, no biggie. There's just two bolts in the back. Remove that, we could pop off the caliper and then swap in the brake pads. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the two pins. I was just using some Allen bolts. I didn't have like a screwdriver or something small enough to fit in through there. We just used an Allen bolt. You push it in through here. I'm gonna add a little bit of WD-40 just as a penetrating fluid. You whack it with a mallet or a hammer and it's gonna pop out through the back. Pins are now out. You just go ahead and pull them out through the back just to take out. So there's, come on now, buddy. Oh, well, the Allen bolt was still in there holding it in place. There we go. That over here to the side. Put these over there too. Theoretically, you should be able to pull these out, but these are so caked in there. It's so dirty. I won't be able to take it out. I'm gonna try right now with some pliers, just try to pull it out. And if it works out, then it works. If it doesn't, ni modo. Move on to step number 2, which is one here and one down there. You see my finger? You remove those two and you can take off the caliper. I am able to pull it out through over here to the side, but let's remove the brake caliper and show you how to do that. Alrighty, so I'm down to the last of this bolt, and I wanted to explain something real quick. So how a brake caliper works is it uses hydraulic fluid through the line, and then it squishes like the little caliper circles. See that little round thingy right here? That's one of the calipers that pushes down onto the brake pad, onto the rotor. When you remove your brake caliper, the hydraulic fluid still compresses those calipers together, so it makes it a lot harder to install your brake pad onto the rotor. Either you do it super fast to where you didn't give it enough time to squish down, which is where this comes in handy, because you can pull it out, push the calipers back in a little bit, push it back in, do the same thing with the back. But when you're removing the caliper, you run the risk of both sides collapsing. No biggie, just a heads up so you're not stressing out. I'm gonna let it compress, I guess, so I could show you how I do it. It's a little bit stuck on. There we go. You can go ahead and pull out your pads. We got our new brake pad. I don't know if y'all can see the difference of how thin this one is compared to this one. Unless you have the proper tool to compress the calipers. I do not, unfortunately. I would go ahead and install the caliper. I would get one of these pry bars, wedge it inside between the rotor and the caliper, and push the caliper all the way back. Now you want to be careful with this. This could end up like warping your rotor, but it's the best I could do for now. Get the one over here on the front. You guys, by the way, I'm not a mechanic. This is just me messing around with my cars and then showing you guys how I mess around with my cars. What I'm trying to portray here is that me messing around with my cars, not being a mechanic or having the proper tools, I hope it gives you comfort that you can also do it. And worst case scenario, if something breaks, take it to a mechanic or something. But you could always go ahead and try it first is not the end of the world. This is how I always done my brakes, and so far nothing catastrophic has happened. I'm still alive. I don't claim to be a mechanic. Y'all could probably tell. The brake pad, it's a little bit stuck. There we go. What I'm trying to do here is get these holes to align up with these holes so that I'm able to push that pin back through. All the holes seem to line up. Go ahead and clean up your pins. I'm just using a little bit of brake cleaner or parts cleaner just to take off some of the crust. And you go ahead and install it through the back. Before you push it all the way through, get your freaking thingy right here. If you want to go ahead and clean it up. So right now it looks like that, but it's going to be clamped down like that, contouring to the shape of the brake pad. So you go ahead and install the bottom one. Try to get it all the way through to the other side. And I'm going to use this thing to whack it in the back. Let me do the top one. So our pins are in. This bracket is now clamped down. All we have to do is go ahead and install our brake caliper bolts. This thing I'm gonna go ahead and also add or clean it. Hit it with a wire brush. Just try to get some of the old lock thread off of it so I could put some fresh lock thread on to keep this bolt from coming out. Some red lock thread. I don't really know which one I'd prefer using. I know the red one is a bit stronger than the blue one, but this is a brake caliper and I don't want this thing falling off. So just go ahead and add a tad of that. We do the same thing with our top bolt. And just like that, our brake pads are now swapped out. Everything looks pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and put the wheel back on, lower the car, and then you just go ahead and push on the brake so that the caliper can clamp onto the brake pads. And then we're gonna go ahead and drive around, get these brake pads or broken in. Also, our brake rotors most likely need to get swapped out. I wanted to test out to see if the brake pads would do the job. I'm not too sure exactly what a brake rotor is supposed to look like, but we do have some like marks right here. So I'm assuming we're probably gonna have to swap these out next, which I probably will do. But for now, we got our brake pad swapped out. If you guys are doing a brake rotor, you basically remove the whole brake caliper off. You remove this bolt, and I'm assuming this thing comes off. And then you install the new one, put the bolt back on, and then just do everything else that we just did with the brake caliper. After that, you can go ahead and find out if your brake pads have a break-in procedure that you have to follow. Figure that out. If not, your brake pads are officially swapped out. Congrats if you did this on your own or if this is your first time doing brake pads. I hope this video helped you out. That is all I got for you guys today. If you want to subscribe to the channel, just click that button below. Drop a like if this video helped you. Comment anything, and I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.